Libya has been topping the news lately. We're pleased to be joined by former United States Ambassador to the United Nations, Andrew Young. He was also a Georgia U.S. Congressman and Mayor of Atlanta. Nice to talk with you, sir.
Very good to be with you.
When he was in the Senate, Barack Obama said the president does not have the power under the Constitution to unilaterally authorize a military attack in a situation that does not involve stopping an actual or imminent threat to the nation. And yet, as president, he ordered military action against Libya. Did Libya pose such a threat to the United States to justify an attack?
Well, I don't think so, but he didn't just authorize that attack. It was an attack that was authorized through NATO and our allies there. I wished we had taken a little more time and allowed African leaders to try to work with Gaddafi. Gaddafi did need to be replaced. But so did Idi Amin. And Idi Amin was taken off the scene without much violence, and he was allowed to disappear and die in anonymity. Uganda was not destroyed. When I compare what happened in Egypt, where they started their movement against the government with prayer, and I think they have been just as successful, and they will be much more able to reunite their country and build a progressive economy because they didn't undergo the kind of violence that has been true of Libya. Libya will have a hard time reconstructing its society, and we will have trouble for years to come.
Is the Mideast more secure now that Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi's been virtually driven from power by rebels with the NATO backing?
No, unfortunately, it's not. And that's the reason I've always advocated the patient, nonviolent approach. Now, people will say that that wouldn't work with a man who was really eccentric, if not totally insane. But I don't agree. I think that we have been able in other places and in other times to work patiently without violence and get a result that is equivalent, if not superior, to the results of violent conflict. Whenever you have violence, you destroy a lot of the society's wealth and resources and history. You can do the same kind of change, and I would say that under the Jimmy Carter administration, though he was much maligned, that all of Southern Africa changed without any troops and with the slow, patient diplomacy that changed all of Southern Africa and established a multiracial democracy without significant violence and little or no destruction.
Is there a danger the Muslim Brotherhood could emerge as the dominant power in Libya, and what would the consequences be?
Well, I think the consequences of chaos are that we have no control or influence on what results. And I think that's what has happened in Libya, that violence has created chaos. And so we have no idea who might emerge, and we're going to have a difficult time influencing it.
Has Obama shown good leadership in dealing with the unemployment and economic crises here at home, especially with unemployment among blacks at 16%?
Well, I think so far he has not. But I think he has dealt with the crisis well. And he saw the crisis. In fact, he inherited the TARP assets redemption from President Bush. And he bailed out the banks, and then he bailed out General Motors. But really, we have not done very much to stabilize the rights of the lower middle class and the poor.
So you're saying President Obama has not made the economic crisis worse with runaway spending?
Well, I think that he has not made it any worse. He has not made it better fast enough.
If there isn't a drastic change in course, how will historians judge the record of the first black president in American history?
Well, that's a big if. In the first place, I think that if you're judging him against Franklin Roosevelt, so far he's a failure. But remember, Franklin Roosevelt had 3 terms and was elected to a 4th. before we turn the American economy around. But if you're judging him against his predecessors, he's true to course. And it's been largely the deregulation of the economy that has, I think, made the rich richer and the poor poorer. The top 1% of our population is controlling in excess of 20% of the wealth. Now, if they are investing that back into America, then maybe it might help and work for America. But that money is right now being put into gold, and it's being put into hedge funds that are not investing in America. And the challenge is not just for government spending, but the challenge is for the private sector to find ways to take on the problems of our economy. In Atlanta, we did that. We built the world's busiest airport without taxing people. We made it pay for itself. I called it public purpose capitalism. We defined the public purpose, and then we structured an economic unit that will pay for itself. And we floated municipal bonds, which before any of the people who are involved in the airport make any money, the debt service has to be paid on the bonds. And so we developed a system where we use private money to build our airport, to build underground, to build one of our major toll roads, to furnish housing, and to create enterprise zones for housing in downtown Atlanta. We created enterprise zones with tax reliefs to attract industrial parks and big business and special projects. In all, during the time I was mayor, we generated 1 million new jobs in Atlanta, and we attracted $70 billion worth of private investment. I think that's what we've got to find a way to do to make America work again.
Ambassador Andrew Young, thanks so much. We appreciate it, sir.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.